Now, as we were just talking about, there is this question of whether or not we're in an AI bubble, and many worry about all those circular deals. An illustrated version here by Morgan Stanley. Others argue the high valuations are actually justified. They expect that AI will boost productivity gains and fuel economic growth. That's not happening, though, quite yet. Researchers at MIT said this year that 95% of companies trying AI have yet to see a return on their investments. The startup Mindstone is working with other companies to change all that. Joshua Wöhle is here with us. He is the co-founder and CEO. Good to see you here. And you are trying to crack the code of AI for 2026, answering the question, will AI live up to the cost for many companies this year? I'm wondering what you're learning.
Yeah, so what we're seeing is that 95% stat that you're quoting is mostly due to training. There's been a lot of money that has gone into the technology and the infrastructure. We just heard about it. But what most companies are forgetting is that the technology doesn't just adopt itself. And so what is missing is a significant investment in training. And when that happens, when people know how to use the technology, the return is actually undervalued so far as we're seeing.
Undervalued. That is so interesting. And so you have some key predictions for 2026 for AI. What are they?
So one of the biggest ones is actually one that came off of last year. So last year, I thought everything that was happening in software engineering was going much faster than what people were thinking. And so this year was the year where coding as a profession started to very clearly disappear. What I think is going to happen next year is the same thing, but for all other types of knowledge work, whether that's legal or marketing or sales or learning and development. And so the tasks that underpin those individual jobs end up getting executed by the AI. And as people, we move from doing those individual tasks to orchestrating them.
In terms of orchestrating them, though, there is a huge debate as to whether or not this will lead to a jobs crisis. And you know both sides of the debate here. Where do you come in on that?
So I think both can be true. I do think it's going to take a while for markets and the economy to adjust in different ways. As we are able to automate on the one hand, we augment on the other. I think, however, this is something that we have some agency over. The more we as society lean into augmentation, the less we suffer the consequences of the automation piece. And this is why it's so important that there's more investment on the augmentation piece, basically helping people do better work rather than solely focusing on automating the work that they already do. Because if the work gets better, everyone gets the benefit and everyone gets to keep their job. If the work gets automated, they lose them. And so I do think it's going to be a little bit rocky, but I actually think we have agency over it.
And what you're talking about actually is a very nuanced argument. And this kind of dovetails into something I'm really intrigued about. Your prediction is that Europe will actually have a competitive advantage into 2026. How so?
So, I mean, Europe has really been sitting on the sidelines for quite a while, right? There's not really been the same investment in infrastructure. But what Europe has done, the EU AI Act, actually mandates training across the continent. So, if you're a company that has to roll out or that rolls out the technology, you now, by law, have to train everyone in the company to understand how to use it. And because most of the return on the technology comes from training the people, there's actually a really good chance that this is Europe's moment to wake up and properly be part of the race and actually get the fruit of the labor.
And does that mean, though, that the United States is inherently at a disadvantage? I don't have to remind you in terms of labor laws as well. I mean, it is much easier to fire people in the United States and to make that, slash jobs first and think later.
Correct. I would say because most of the advantage from the technology actually comes from augmentation rather than automation, and because in Europe people have to focus more on augmentation than on automation because it is actually harder to change the workforce that quickly. Could very well be that Europe, in this particular situation, has an advantage, as much as the US is are the ones that are investing most in the technology itself.
Wow, fascinating, Joshua. Really helpful. And we'll try and check in with you in 2026 just to see how things are going. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.